All right, everyone, welcome. If you are getting ready for that BTEC Unit 2 exam, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most important parts of your report, the justification. This is where so many marks are won and, honestly, where they're lost. So let's make sure you're on the winning side.
Okay, let's just get straight to it. This number you're looking at, 5.2 out of 10, that's the recent average score for the justification section. Now, what does that tell you? It tells me this is a huge opportunity. It's obviously a spot where a ton of students stumble, which means if you have the right strategy, you can seriously pull ahead of the crowd.
So that's the big question, right? How do you break away from that average and get into the top marks? How do you lock in a 9 or even a 10? Well, that is exactly what we're here to figure out. I'm going to lay out a super clear, efficient, and most importantly, examiner-approved way to absolutely nail this section.
Okay, first things first. Your justification needs you to use analytical tools. But here's the secret. The key to a top-tier justification isn't just using the tools, it's about picking the right combination of tools. This is all about being smart, saving time, and getting the biggest impact from your analysis. So, you've got three main models in your toolkit: SWOT analysis, PESTLE, and the product lifecycle, which we'll call PLC. Now, they're all perfectly valid, and the exam board doesn't officially prefer one over the other. But from a purely strategic point of view, well, they are not all created equal, especially when you're up against the clock in an exam.
And here we go. This is the really crucial point. The most common thing people do is combine SWOT and PESTLE. The problem with that? Your PESTLE analysis just ends up repeating the opportunities and threats you already talked about in your SWOT. It's a total waste of time. A much smarter, way more strategic combo is a really well-developed SWOT analysis paired with the product lifecycle.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Expert examiners have pointed this out. The PLC model is very often a quicker and just plain better way to build your argument. It gives you a whole new angle on the market, while PESTLE can get you stuck in a loop, repeating yourself and burning through precious minutes that you really need for that big 20-mark marketing mix section.
Okay, so we've picked our tools, SWOT and PLC. Now let's get practical. Let's roll up our sleeves and actually walk through how to use these models. We'll use the Decal Gear case study, it's a mock sportswear brand, to show you exactly how to turn this theory into top marks. Let's start with SWOT. The first two parts, strengths and weaknesses, are all about the internal stuff, what's going on inside the business. And here's a massive tip for you. You will only find this info when you get Part B of the exam paper. That's where they tell you about the business itself. Its brand, its money situation, who's on the team. On the flip side, opportunities and threats are external. They're all about the market, your competitors, and what's happening in the wider world. Now, here's what's really cool about this. You can start thinking about these things the second you get your Part A research pack. That means you can prep half of your SWOT analysis before you even walk into the main exam. That's a huge advantage.
Now listen up, because this is a tip straight from the examiners. Do not, I repeat, do not just create a long shopping list of bullet points for each section. That's such a classic mistake. Instead, you've got to be selective. Pick the one most important strength, the one most critical weakness, and so on, and then you develop that single point with real evidence from the case study. Quality over quality is absolutely the name of the game here.
Okay, let's switch gears to the PLC and see how it builds on our SWOT. Your job here is to basically be a detective. You need to sift through the data in your research pack. You're looking for market growth figures, info on competitors, consumer trends, and figure out which stage of the life cycle this market is in. Is it brand new and exploding? Is it stable and mature? Or is it starting to fade out?
And this shows the process perfectly. For our Decal Gear example, the research pack shows the market is growing, sure, but kind of slowly, at about 4 to 5% a year. We also see these massive, dominant brands like Nike and Adidas all over the place. Now, what do these clues tell us? They're screaming that the overall sports market is in the maturity stage. It's established, and the big, crazy growth period is over.
But wait, here's the next level move that will really make the examiner sit up and take notice. Just because the overall market is mature, that doesn't mean every little corner of it is. Your secret weapon is to dig deeper and find the small, fast-growing niche segments that are still in a massive growth phase.
And bam, look at this incredible piece of data from the Decal Gear case. While the whole sportswear market is just cruising along at 4 to 5%, this little niche subsegment of yoga wear for men is absolutely exploding, with 45% annual growth. Finding a specific, data-backed insight like this, that is pure gold for your justification.
So, you've done your analysis with SWOT and PLC. You've found these amazing insights. Now for the most critical step, the one that so many students just forget. You absolutely must connect your findings to your proposed marketing mix, the 7 Ps. Your justification is the why behind the what of your marketing plan. You have to make that link. I want you to think of it like a simple 3-step chain of logic. 1, you have a finding from your model, like the market is mature. 2, you back it up with specific evidence from the case study, like growth is only 4%. And 3, you state a clear marketing mix action that this evidence justifies. You just follow that chain every single time, and you cannot go wrong.
Let's see it in action. So, your PLC analysis identified that niche growth segment. That's your model finding. The evidence? The plus 45% growth in yoga wear for men. Therefore, the logical marketing mix action is to focus on the product P, and you propose a new clothing line specifically for this high growth group. See? It's simple, it's logical, and it's directly linked. Perfect.
Let's do another one with SWOT. Let's say your analysis finds a key threat, maybe rising safety concerns in gyms, which you pulled from the research pack. That's your finding and your evidence. So what's the justified marketing mix action? Well, you could focus on the physical environment P, making sure your marketing campaign really highlights the safety and cleanliness of your brand's events or stores to make customers feel comfortable.
We are almost there, I promise. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick run-through of the most common mistakes. Because honestly, knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what to do. Think of this as your final checklist before the exam.
So how do you lose marks? Easy, by just listing points without explaining them, by completely forgetting to use specific data and quotes from the research pack, by failing to build that explicit bridge between your analysis and your 7 Ps, and finally, by trying to talk about 3 models superficially instead of just 2 models in real depth. Avoid these traps, and you are well on your way to a top grade.
At the end of the day, your justification isn't just some boring exercise you have to do. It is the strategic blueprint for your entire marketing campaign. It's you proving to the examiner that your plan is built on solid analysis, not just random ideas. So as you practice, ask yourself this: is your blueprint built for success? After watching this, I'm pretty confident the answer is going to be yes. Good luck.